There seems to be a great misunderstanding about when you should and when you shouldn't hand over raw files. The reason it's so important to understand this is because if you're not handing them over when you should be, it makes you look a bit amateurish. And I know this because we've won jobs from people for this exact reason. Now, of course, there are absolutely reasons why you shouldn't hand them over. And most of you get that right, but only because you do a blanket statement of I won't give you raw files, because there are absolutely times when not only you could, but you must hand over the raw files. And understanding these is important. Let's first of all double down on when you must not hand them over, and then let's talk about when and why you must hand your files over. If you're doing personal work, if you're working as an artist and you've done some work and somebody involved in the collaboration goes, can I get the raw files to have a play with? Unless they are your retoucher, the answer is a hard no. Ask them why, and they'll probably say, I want to have a play with them. You don't want other people having their input into your work, creating an image that doesn't look like the way you want it to look. We're doing a test shoot next month. We've got a load of people in there. It will go no further than my studio doors. That raw file will not leave this building. My retoucher for sure will have a hand in it, but that's as far as it's going. Nobody else is touching it. Now, if you're doing editorial work and your name is going to be next to those photographs, you don't want those raw files getting out of control. You want them to stay between your approved retoucher and yourself, or yourself if you're doing the retouching. You don't want raw files going out to different places for editorial work because your name will literally be brandished upon it. So whenever you're doing some sort of work, be it personal or editorial, where the final publication will be linked to your name directly, that file does not leave your site. That is your file and your file only. Now, weddings are a bit different. Weddings and event work, there's a bit of a grey area in here, and I want to tell you how I personally deal with it. If I shoot an event, which I don't, but if I did, and somebody wanted my raw files, they could edit it to look like all their previous events, knock yourself out. I'm still charging you the same, but I'm not doing the editing. I'm very keen on that particular scenario. If they want the raw files to edit them just because they want to save money, no, because at that point I'm pretty certain they don't know how to edit. If they're really insistent and I really need the job, here's the dirty little trick I play. I say yes. I export the raw files as 16-bit TIFFs, which are absolutely monstrous, and I send them via one giant WeTransfer link. That tends to get them to go, you know what, edited JPEGs are fine, because no one can really download that much stuff. I also don't call them first, but that's a bit naughty. Now, if a wedding couple, if one of them's a photographer or they're into that thing and they go, can I have the raws? I say, sure, why not? Again, I don't shoot weddings. I did many moons ago and I have given raw files to wedding clients. I say yes. Just don't publish the edited versions of them. If a wedding client goes, we want the raws for security, for longevity, I say, yes, please do, because it takes it off my neck. But here's the edited ones. These are what you're allowed to share with the world, but have the raws should, for whatever reason, I'm no longer in business, which is now the case if you had a wedding from me in the early 2000s, you've got those raw files. That puts me at ease. Now, before we go into when you should and why you should share them, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Studio Access is the platform for those of you who want a more in-depth look at photography and videography. It's not the quick fixes we share over on YouTube, it's the more in-depth and detailed information that takes longer to put out there. This is looking at behind the scenes on shoots, working with top stylists, assistants and digitechs, right the way through to practical things like security for your camera equipment, how we make sure that we don't get cleared out, looking after your lighting, care of fuses, bulbs, domes, and all of that information that just isn't for most photographers. Studio Access is designed for those who really want to excel in photography, be it as an amateur hobbyist, an artist, or a commercial photographer. It's really for those who want to go above and beyond what's available on the YouTube platform. If you head over to tinhouse-studio.com, you can find Studio Access over there or the link down below in the comments, as well as in the description for this video. Okay, and now here is why you should share your raw files. I'm a commercial photographer. We regularly share our raw files. Not always, not exclusively, but regularly. First of all, I don't retouch any of my adverts. That's a given for any commercial photographer. We don't do it, we send it to a retoucher. That might be, in my case, an in-house person, or when it's a really big job or really like, it needs that extra pizzazz, we send it to a known retoucher in London in one of the big retouching houses, because they have the skills and the project management to do all of that. You know, it's a very big deal when it gets to that stage. However, we have a lot of commercial clients who want raw files only. And a lot of photographers go to them, no, I don't give out my raw files. Here's the thing though. This client is working to a very tight brief from their client. So the ad agency is not going, let's put our creative pizzazz on it. They're going to retouch it exactly how do you retouch it anyway. So if they want to make their bit of money from the retouching because they're set up like that in their studio, that's absolutely fine. Have the files, you make your bit of money, I make my bit of money, we're all happy. The next reason is they've done 5 shoots already with 5 different photographers and they're taking all the retouching in-house, so it's got the continuity. Absolutely, you do that. And the final reason is they want you to do an edit, but they also want delivery of RAWs in case they want to do something different with it in the future. Now, this is where people fall up. They're like, well, no, I don't want you to do anything different with it in the future. That's not what we've agreed. All reputable ad agencies, when they do something different with it in the future, will pay you usage. You can give them every RAW file in the world. If they've only paid usage for 2 images for 1 year, UK only, out of home, that's all they're going to get. It's not until they turn around and go, look, we want to do something else. They want those RAW files for their own protection, just in case you fluff up because you're a creative and, creatives make mistakes a lot of the times, or at least that's the perception of us. We might misplace our RAW files. If that happens, then they've got them already. Or if they need to get hold of them for an emergency advert they've got to quickly pull together because there's something in the media and they know you've got the assets, you're on set for a week in a different country, they don't have to worry about that. There is always a valid reason for an ad agency to take the RAW files, and there's nothing they're gaining from it without you getting something as well. They can't use them because they don't have the usage. We regularly go, yes, of course you can have all these RAW files. We send them home with a drive, and on the drive will be the RAW files with the grade applied so they can actually continue to tweak from our tweak, converted TIFFs of these, WebRes and PrintRes JPEGs, and then the final edited photos go over later. That is the norm in the commercial industry. Of course, there's a million different industries in photography, and there's a million different reasons as to why you should and shouldn't give away RAW files, but I know from experience that a lot of photographers in the commercial world mess up by refusing to give them like there's some sort of sacred thing, and that by giving someone a RAW file, you're allowing them to use it. That is not the case. You can give them all the RAW files they want. Until they pay usage, they can't use a single one of those images. I hope that clears things up. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.